Hey guys, welcome back. So we are finally here. Weapon H has his own series written by Greg Pak, who has more than proven that he knows how to handle a character like this. So let's talk about it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so you can squad up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so Weapon H is one of those characters we've been talking about for a minute. And I got links below if you're new to the concept and thinking about getting into this issue and you want to get caught up, or if you're curious to how he ties into the Marvel Universe already, don't worry, I got you, all that's down in the description. And so last year when Weapon H first premiered in Weapons of Mutant Destruction, which was a tie-in between Totally Awesome Hulk and the latest run of the Weapon X series, initially there was a lot of mystery around this character. Like for a while we didn't even know his name. And even leading up to the reveal of who he was, we were thrown like other information like Mr. X, which at the time turned out to be your Batch H Beta, who unfortunately is no longer with us. Link below to see what happened to that boy. Long story short, that was Beta, this is Alpha for a reason. But that event, Weapons of Mutant Destruction, it served the purpose of bringing back the Weapon X program, it brought something new and exciting to the Totally Awesome Hulk series, and it gave a crazy kickstart to the new Weapon X series. Because when this Hulk was created from different subjects of Weapon X, plus the addition to the blood of Amadeus Cho, with them being hunted down with the exception of Amadeus Cho, this series closed out with the birth of a new team. And with the Weapon X team trying to stop Batch H Alpha, which never went well when they tried to confront him physically, and that's mainly because he's Hulk and Wolverine, two of Marvel's most untamable characters, both put into one person. But of course with him being created by the Weapon X program, Dr. Alba, who made him, and also personally handpicked the only successful subject for this program, for a short time she did have him under control, but with Logan and the crew calling in Laura Kinney, the all-new Wolverine, they figured out a way to help him break free. But with Logan and the team tracking him down and also Weapon X looking for him, we found out that his name is Clayton, he's ex-military, he has a family, and all he's wanted to do since he's broken free is find his family and destroy any information left on any servers that could potentially set his family in danger. And since the last time we seen him when Logan followed him back to that Ego Star base, where Clayton pretty much just destroyed all their private servers, since then he's really just been on the run and much like Hulk, like just wanted to be left alone. And you can really say the same about Wolverine because he's more like that lone wolf. But it's great because that's where the Weapon H series picks up at. And when we see Clay, it's not like he has this particular plan, he's just figuring it out as he goes. At this point he knows he has a wife and 2 kids, and he's gonna do whatever it takes to find them and to keep them safe. But along the way he's just doing whatever work he can get his hands on so he can stay low key and move undetected. Very much like your old Hulk TV show with Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. Because when you first open it up and you read it, like the recap's gonna give you that vibe. You're gonna like feel that music in the background. But I like that it's delivered that way because that's really where he's at right now. Every time you see him, he's trying to off to the side, trying to stay separate from everyone. And he's pretty clever about it too because he pretends that he doesn't even speak English. But that only takes him so far before another incident breaks out and he finds himself back on the run again. And you already know this guy wouldn't be any much of a Wolverine or Hulk if he didn't go somewhere where there was mad woods and plenty of snow. And I mean, like, if that wasn't your classic what would Wolverine do type scenario, I don't know what is. But it's a good call because it instantly took me back to the old school Jim Lee Wolverine versus Omega Red, Wolverine versus Sabretooth. And really whenever you can have action take place where there's more debris, it makes it more dynamic anyway. But either way, Clayton finds this research crew who's landing in the middle of this blizzard, mainly because this is the closest they can get to their site because of the harsh conditions. But he stops to kind of check it out just to make sure these guys are okay out here in the middle of nowhere. But it's a good thing that he did because these guys actually forgot their rations. And he overheard that, killed the deer and left it for them to eat, which was a pretty risky move because you would assume that the claw marks on that deer was kind of recognizable. Like 3 huge claw imprints, and the length, like the space in between them is almost the length of the deer's body. It kind of leads you to think like, well, who else could this be? But even still with that said, he couldn't let them starve, so he gave them something. And it's possible that he heard that they were only there for a few days while he was off in the distance eavesdropping. So it makes sense that he just figured I'll leave him some food and just keep it pushing. But while these guys were here, they were like, okay, we might be stranded, but when it clears up, we could at least just do our job. And so now the crazy thing is this expedition was supposed to be research for an Abingdon party, and these people were trapped under this wreckage for weeks. But before starving, they started to eat each other. Like, it's crazy. And this crew that's here investigating, they've been fully funded by Roxxon Corp, which just sounds shady with the history of that company. But what's also shady is a member of this group, Mr. Banks. He plays that role of that representative from Roxxon who's funding everything. And when they find the site, he likes, hey, let's celebrate with some of this food I brought. And when he does that, it throws them off completely. Because before they had help, they did a pool of all the rations that they had. And Banks had never mentioned anything about his extra food. And Dr. Sterling, she asked him, why are you hoarding the food? Why are you holding out? And he's like, oh, this is a special type of jerky. It's human flesh. And her partner, who was killing it, just spits it out. Like, please tell me you're joking. But he wasn't, man. And once he eats from it, he starts transforming into a Wendigo. And not like a regular sized Wendigo, but like a huge Wendigo. But it's here that we find out that Roxxon Corp was using Dr. Sterling and her colleague for much different intentions than they were led to believe. Mainly because this is Roxxon Corp. This is what they do. And when this happens, Clayton can hear the Wendigo echoing through the mountain range. He hears them screaming, and even though his intention was just to go his own way, mind his business, and leave them alone, he knows good and well like that wasn't no damn owl. So of course he turns back around to help them out. And when he gets there, it's kind of obvious what the situation is. Dr. Sterling's the only one there that's really human. Mr. Banks is kind of the first one to get scuffled up by the Wendigo. Turns out that he was just a robot reporting everything back anyway. But aside from this encounter being on the radar of Roxxon Corp, this huge brawl happens to catch the attention of others as well. More specifically, Dr. Strange. And it appears that he was already tracking another Wendigo, but when he noticed this fight, this is his first time seeing Batch H Alpha, otherwise known as Weapon H. And for Strange, the shock value here is 2 for 1, because 1, he was looking for another Wendigo, but it wasn't as big as this one. And 2, he sees this hole with claws, and he's like, okay, now we got a much bigger problem. But jumping back over to Roxxon Corp, they're reviewing the footage that they pulled from the android just before Clay destroyed it, and also watching matching footage that they've collected from their affiliates, which I assume are both Weapon X and Eagle Star. But all they really have at this point is footage. They don't have a name, they don't have an origin, and for that reason, it's a good chance that their affiliate may only be Eagle Star. Because if they knew Weapon X was involved, everything else would have been self-explanatory. But this quickly catches the attention of Dario Agger, who is the current CEO of Roxxon. And I'm telling you, this dude reminds me so much of Goran Visnich, not only because they look alike, but he just has that same kind of presence every time I see him on screen. Like, this dude is powerful, but there's something dark behind all of that. And that's really what the character Dario represents. Because as sinister as this character is, and all the shady things that Roxxon Corp is involved in, as far as the rest of the world is concerned, with the exception of S.H.I.E.L.D. and some of the heroes as well, because they clearly already know he dirty. But as far as the rest of the world, they don't know who and what he really is. And aside from S.H.I.E.L.D. and a whole list of heroes like Captain America, Hulk, you also have your list of villains who are aware of his background, and also your select members of Roxxon who are aware of it as well. But on a grand scope, as far as your public eye, people really don't know. Like, the general public is not aware. But the way his origin goes, you can find it in volume 4 of Thor. But his parents were crazy rich. They had their own island, and the entire family would go out and visit this island for like holidays and vacations. And on one of those vacations where they were on this island, his family was murdered and robbed by a group of pirates. And he was 9 years old at the time, so that's what he would describe them as. But when this happened, he was the only one to get away. He was the only one to make it out alive. And mind you, at these family gatherings, everyone was there. Aunts, uncles, nieces, everybody. All his cousins, brothers, sisters. He was the only one that made it out. And when he ran away, he hid inside of this cave that was almost shaped like a labyrinth. Hint, hint. And he hid in there and he prayed until his bones hurt the whole night, like non-stop. And he didn't know who or what he was praying to, but that whole night he prayed for death and revenge. And initially, the quote pirates didn't chase him at night because they're like, hey, this is just a little kid, we'll get him in the morning. And they figured, okay, the island is ours, he's not gonna make it off of here. What's the worst that could happen? But the worst did happen, bruh. The worst. Because he was transformed into the legendary Minotaur. And when he transformed, he didn't even kill him, but rather he ended up giving them a fate worse than death by keeping them alive so they can continually suffer forever. It's crazy. Like, even to this day, he has all of their heads like in a trophy room. And it's like they have enough just to support life and keep them hanging on, but they're always suffering and they can't die. So if you're ever considering robbing somebody, just ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? And then go back and read this issue of Thor. I think it's volume 4, number 6. And then after that, go and watch Black Mirror. And then after that, I'm pretty sure you'll be like, you know what? Maybe robbing people is not a good way to secure a bright future. But either way, with Dario Agger, from that point forward, being able to transform into a Minotaur at will, and also inheriting his family's wealth, he used that to accumulate knowledge, gain power, and later take over Roxxon Corp. But the crazy addition to that is Clayton's wife, works for Roxxon Corp. And since Clayton's disappeared, she's been dealing with a world of issues because she believes that he's dead, and she's left alone raising the 2 kids without government assistance. And the main reason that she can't get government assistance is because every time she contacts Veterans Administrations, she keeps getting the runaround between them and Eagle Star. Because as far as Veterans Administrations, before they can give her government assistance, she needs to give them a certificate of his death. But Eagle Star is always giving her the runaround every time she needs to talk to someone, they're not there or unavailable. So really at this point in time, she's come to the place of taking matters into her own hands. And when she visits Eagle Star and they refuse to speak to her again, on her way out, she takes one of the folders that's marked Blue Team B33. And we don't see exactly what she sees in that folder, at least not yet. You know, I have my guesses, but y'all know how I am. We'll get to that in due time. But what I really like about how this series is starting, Greg Pak drops like a whole bunch of seeds here and there for other characters and other narratives to grow and weave through this story in the near future. But I'll wrap it up there on this one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Personally, I love where this is going because with a character this powerful like Weapon H, the story doesn't have to be epic scale, but rather what it has to do is dig deep with the characters. And I like the choice of characters and even potential characters that I'm seeing so far. And I like how they brought in Doctor Strange as well. I do need to catch up with some more of his recent stories. Maybe a possible connection there, who knows? But let me know you guys' thoughts down in the comments. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.